Hey, this is Ashley,
And Cindy,
and this is Life for Dummies.
because we're real dumb.
Oh my goodness. Yes, ma'am. What are we going to talk about today?
I thought we should talk about obsessive thoughts today.
Oh, do I spend too much time overthinking?
Yeah, that's it right there. So do you?
I used to, and I still struggle with it today because it was such like a part of my active addiction. For those of you listening, like we say that we have a disease of addiction and it's obsession and compulsion, right? I obsessively think about my drug of choice and then I compulsively act on it. And so, since it's just so part of who I used to be, it's still like something that I struggle with whenever I feel like there's more to do in life than not. I can get overwhelmed and start overthinking.
Yeah, and overthinking. Listen, when I am thinking too much, that is a problem for me. When I am alone in my head, I am in very bad company because I will obsess over things that I literally have no control over, right? And I start thinking about things, what I should be doing, what it should look like. I'm not doing enough. I'm not far enough along. And the obsession, the overthinking, it's like you get on that hamster wheel and I can't get out of it. And it keeps me stuck. It's a scary place to be.
Yeah, it is interesting that like I can't really trust myself. Like my head is a scary place to be. And I would say it's not because I'm a bad person, right? And it just is that I'm not able to like have the outsider perspective. And until somebody gives me that outsider perspective, it's easy for me to look at it with a bias.
Yeah, I heard the saying once that I was so far in the picture that I couldn't see the frame, right? So I'm so far into this thinking process and this overthinking and this obsession that I can't really see the big picture of what really is going on and what's causing me to think this way. But like what's a good way to stop doing that, right? Like, how do we stop overthinking? How do we stop obsessing? What do you think?
Well, I'd say you're probably more equipped to answer this right now than I am. But I do know the end result is me usually just like sitting in a chair and staring outside for a long period of time or, listening to the birds or staring at the wall.
So the way that I usually get out of it is I talk to somebody about it, right? Sharing is caring. And also, when I share with someone the burden that I'm carrying, it lessens the burden and it makes it easier to get through it and to the other side of it. Because when I start to talk about these things, what's really going on that I feel the need to obsess over this certain thing? There's usually something else occurring in my life that I don't want to focus on. So I'm obsessing over something else because it's distracting me from the reality of the situation, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the case of all issues that we deal with. Usually there's like a root cause and we have all these symptoms and we think that the symptom is the problem, but in fact it's something really deep that either happened to us as a child or it's like a disorder or it's like a disease. And until we actually deal with like the root cause, then we're still going to keep those symptoms around.
Right. And that's what that's what this new way of life has done for Ashley and I. We have been able to look at the root cause and why we did the things that we did because of things that happened that most likely had no control over. And so the solution was usually chemical in nature because it made the voices, the nonsense in my head, the obsession and the compulsion go away until it didn't.
Yeah, and for me, it was kind of a relief to learn that I had a disease because then it wasn't all my fault, right? Like, I didn't have some kind of moral deficiency. I wasn't like this huge, like, really bad person. I was able to realize that I actually did have a brain disease. And, like, is that my fault? I mean, do we develop this or are we born with it? I mean, those are questions out there on the table, but at the end of the day, like there were a lot of things I was doing against my will, and that's not my fault.
It's absolutely not your fault. And the thing that I like to think about is just because I did some bad things, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person, right? Like, I am not a bad person. Those old behaviors do not define who I am. It's not who I am today. I've worked very hard to not behave like that anymore. And so I need to give myself grace, give myself a break, and just do it just for today. And just for today, I don't have to be obsessive and compulsive about certain things. Just for today, I don't have to harm myself anymore. You know, it's that simple.
Yeah, I start overthinking and obsessing whenever I'm outside of the present. If I just focus on what's going on right here in this moment, it's usually something I can handle. But if I start thinking about what I have to do later today, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month, then I just start to really freak out.
Yeah, we've said it here before that getting stuck in your past can cause depression, and getting caught up in your future can cause anxiety. And it's all because it's stuff we have no control over anymore. Things that happened in the past, they're already done. You know what? I have to accept it. I may not like it, but I can learn from it and move forward. If I start focusing on what next year is going to look like, then I'm going to be a ball of anxiety because literally it hasn't happened yet. So it's like, you know what? Just stay present. Just stay in the moment. A very wise lady once said to me, "Where are your feet right now?" And it was like, what does that even mean, right? She was like, "Right now, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, right now, I'm pretty darn good." And she was like, "Then just be happy with that." I was like, you know what? I can do that.
Yeah, it's a simple program, right, for complicated people. So if you're an overthinker, just realize you're not alone. And if it's causing you a lot of angst and anxiety, there are ways out of it.
There are definitely ways, call somebody. You can join our membership and you can get direct access to Ashley and I, and we can give you other ways to get out of it. We love you guys.
Love you.